There's a big little change made to the Disability Access Program at Walt Disney World Resort. Let's talk about this seemingly insignificant, but we think significant change to DAS here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Mr. VashSky. Vash, you're a theme park expert, and I need your expertise today.
Absolutely, I am here to provide it. You know, Jonas, I got to be honest with you. I don't know if we've ever had an entire story where we covering literally one word out of a piece of legal script going out to people visiting Walt Disney World in this way. But it's a very important word. Gotta get into it.
Well, yeah, in the tradition of things like Journey into Imagination and Journey into Your Imagination, there are some big differences there. But in this case, it seems like maybe a little bit of legalese that the company is trying to, I don't know. DAS is such a hot button issue that I have to wonder if legal was involved in this one. Small change to Disability Access Service policy wording could have big impact. This from Blog Mickey, and we appreciate that Blog Mickey is covering this and makes it easily accessible to us here. Walt Disney World has recently made a very small change to its Disability Access Service, DAS, otherwise known as, wording that could have a big impact on the program. And there's an emphasis on could there. It's in italics. Here's a look at what changed and how it could change who is eligible to qualify for the DAS program. Only a single word has changed, but it relaxes a major restriction in the policy. Here's a look at the before and after of a sentence describing who the program is intended to assist. And I'm going to read it here just so everybody understands. DAS is intended to accommodate only those guests who, due to a developmental disability like autism or similar, are unable to wait in a conventional queue for an extended period of time. Emphasis added by Blog Mickey in this case, and of course in my reading. And now here's the new version. DAS is intended to accommodate those guests who, due to a developmental disability like autism or similar, are unable to wait in a conventional queue for an extended period of time. It's literally one word that I'm seeing here. I think that is the only difference between these two statements here, Vash.
Yes, absolutely. That is the only difference, but it's a big one. Pun intended, ironically. This is a large scale change right here because previously, I mean, they were super strict, and we've covered here on That Park Place many times just how strict they were in limiting this service to those recipients that you see on your screen right now. Now this language, I think, broadens out who might be included or incorporated into this program right here, which would be a tremendous lift for, you know, many people who I think if we were to poll or if we were to survey, we would ask, you know, should they qualify? Should they not? Most people would agree. That wasn't necessarily incorporated in this language. Now it might be. We've covered stories like that in the past. Right.
And we should reference those stories here so everyone understands why we're focused on this singular word here. The Disability Access System, or DAS, has for a long time been more akin to what a normal person would consider disability. It is not something that has been reserved to only guests with developmental disabilities like autism or similar. It has been something where if you're in a wheelchair, you probably qualify for DAS. If you have difficulty waiting in long lines, you probably qualify for DAS. It's more akin to a traditional system. And Universal Studios uses a third-party verification system, and then you can go to Universal Studios and they'll certify for whatever their equivalent is. And I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of that system is, but it's not Universal Studios making the call on who is disabled and who is not. Disney made a change where it used to be that you would have to go to a cast member and explain your situation. They couldn't ask you too many probing questions because of HIPAA. That's the law of the land in the United States. They have no right to ask you questions. They can't give you any records of it. So, and it was similar to Lightning Lane, the thing that you would get. So the charge being leveled was that as Lightning Lane prices went up, people saying that they needed DAS went up. And therefore, they made this change to try to, instead of putting it out of Disney's hands, they instead made it to where people have to interview. And I'm hearing some horror stories about how long these interviews are. You would have to interview with a cast member, but that cast member might have some small level of medical training. And that cast member would then make a determination whether or not you would be considered disabled for the purpose of the disability access program here. I think that this probably got them into trouble because they didn't rename the program. They called it the same thing. And so people came expecting the same thing. And there's a video that we've played on this channel. It's one of the few completely not monetized videos on this channel because I didn't want people to think that we were trying to monetize someone else's content here, of a woman in a wheelchair, which she appeared to have some kind of breathing apparatus. She made a motion to say who, if anyone, is qualified for DAS. Why is it not me? Essentially, I'm rephrasing, or maybe I'm reversing the statement to the same effect here. Mm-hmm. So it raised a lot of questions of why are you calling this a disability access system when it's being restricted to children with autism or similar. So they basically took away disability access on the idea that all of Disney's new queues are made to accommodate disabled people. Vash, you have seen some of these things firsthand where Disney's attempts at updating the disability access have not quite been successful.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I have been witness to many a occasion where you would think that you would have individuals who might qualify for DAS be denied. And I think the recent reports I've been hearing very, very recently suggest that they might be relaxing it just a pinch, just a little bit. I'm not saying that that's the official policy of the Walt Disney Company, but this wording here, I think, does reflect just the anecdotal reports that I've been hearing myself. So, of course,
the word only denotes only, singularly.
Right.
The subject to, I mean, I'm trying not to use the word only, but everybody knows what the word only means. Right. So if you remove the word only, if I say I want a sandwich with mayonnaise as opposed to a sandwich with only mayonnaise, obviously there's going to be other things on that sandwich if I don't ask for it with only
sure,
or something like that. So yeah. I think naturalistically interpreting the text says that this may be a loosening on their part for one of the most epically unpopular things that Disney has done. Yep. As we've said in the past, Disney used to be really good at accommodating military service members and showing a supreme gratitude to service members, and also accommodating disabled access and things like that. I mean, the Make-A-Wish program itself is often a form of disability access as well. And Disney is famously part of that. Josh D'Amaro is on the board of Make-A-Wish. So I'm very surprised that anything like this with this kind of appearance ever made it into the parks, except nothing surprises us from Disney these days.
No, and remember the reason these changes were enacted in the first place was because, Lightning Lane usage went up, even though Lightning Lane sales did not move commensurate with that usage. So it was eating into, Disney's profits. And it's like, okay, well, now we're going to go ahead and reimagine this whole process, that being the Disability Access Service. And then a couple months later, what do? They debut the premium Lightning Lane tier of Lightning Lane.
Right. So it's like at the $400 mark. And
right.
And that was the other question. We didn't even bring up the fact that people were being denied in interviews and they were being told practice standing in line at home and things like that. It came off in a way that was very un-Disney. And if the guy that is in charge of cruise lines that's now being put in charge of Disneyland is bringing that white glove treatment to Disneyland, maybe they can extend that out to Walt Disney World here. We want this company to be an excellent company. And right now, all they are is an expensive company. So we're obviously going to be covering any actual changes to DAS here. The current program has only been in existence in its current form since May of 2024. So about 8 months at this point, as we're at the end of January. So maybe this is something where Disney has quietly observed the feedback and has started to change direction. It is not within Disney's purview to apologize for things that they have done wrong. They have no history of apologizing for things that have gone wrong unless they completely fire the previous person and try to blame your own mistakes on that person that you fired. I'm talking about Bob Iger, who probably doesn't even understand what's going on with DAS. I think he's that disconnected from the parks. So with that being said, we want to hear from you, our viewers here, and perhaps even our subscribers, if we are so lucky. What do you think about this change? Are we freaking out over one singular word? Or is that word actually a lot more important? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video. And if you haven't done it yet, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.